Hello and good evening everyone, I'm your host Nigel and I welcome you all to the EarthUpdated Show. This month the world celebrated many environmental days. Just for instance, International Flower Day, which is celebrated on 19th January each year. This day displays the variety of biodiversity that can be seen and helps promote the proliferation of conservation efforts for the same. This day encourages people to go outside and appreciate nature in all its vivid colors portrayed through flowers. 2022 is the 9th year the day is celebrated around the world. World Environmental Education Day celebrated on 26th January with the goal to identify environmental issues both globally and locally and to raise awareness about the need for participation in order to conserve and protect the environment, mitigating the various levels of impact caused by climate change. Environmental education is designed to teach us how to live in harmony with nature and reduce human impact on the environment. And every year since 26th January of 1975, this day has been celebrated. And upcoming environmental days are International Zebra Day on 31st January, World Wetlands Day on 2nd February, followed by World Whale Day on the 20th of February and International Polar Bear Day on the 27th of February. And moving on to green happenings from all around the world. First off, millions of hectares of farmland are lost to the desert each year in Africa's Sahel region. But the UN Food and Agriculture Organization or FAO is showing that traditional knowledge combined with the latest technology can turn arid ground back into fertile soil. As part of its Action Against Desertification or AAD program, the FAO has brought the Delfino plow to 4 countries in the Sahel region, Burkina Faso, Niger, Nigeria and Senegal, to cut through impacted bone-dry soil to a depth of more than half a meter. Once an area is plowed, the seeds of woody and herbaceous native species are then sown directly and inoculated seedlings are planted. These species are very resilient and work well in degraded land, providing vegetation cover and improving the productivity of previously barren lands. Meanwhile, scientists have discovered a pristine 3 km or 1.8 mile long reef of giant rose-shaped corals off the coast of Tahiti, in waters thought to be deep enough to protect it from the bleaching effects of the warming ocean. The reef, which lies at the depth of more than 30 meters or 100 feet, probably took around 25 years to grow. Some of the rose-shaped corals measure more than 2 meters in diameter. It was magical to witness giant, beautiful rose corals which stretch for as far as the eyes can see. It was like a work of art, said French photographer Alexis Rosenfeld, who led the team of international divers that made this discovery. The reef of Tahiti lies in the twilight zone, 30 to 120 meters below the surface, where there is still enough light for the coral to grow and reproduce. And lastly, plastic waste in an open landfill in eastern Sri Lanka is killing elephants in the region, after 2 more were found dead over the weekend. Around 20 elephants have died over the last 8 years after consuming plastic trash in the dump in Palakadu village in Ampara district, about 210 kilometers or 130 miles east of the capital Colombo. Elephants are revered in Sri Lanka but are also in danger. Their numbers have dwindled from about 14,000 in the 19th century to 6,000 in 2011 according to the country's first elephant census. They are increasingly vulnerable because of the loss of degradation of their natural habitat. Many venture closer to human settlements in search of food, and some are killed by poachers or farmers angry over damage to their crops. In 2017, the government announced that it will recycle the garbage in dumps near these wildlife zones to prevent elephants from consuming plastic waste. It is also said that electric fences would be erected around these sites to keep the animals away, but neither has been done or neither has been fully implemented. And that is all for Green News tonight, folks. Today we have with us a person who is passionate about food systems right from farm to fork. He has a distinguishing career spanning over 20 years as a system designer and activist with a rich experience as trainer, researcher, coordinator and administrator in the field of community-based natural resource management, and sustainable development education. Please welcome Mr. Anshuman Das. Well, hello and good evening to our show, sir. Thank you so much for taking out time and being with us here tonight. How are you doing this evening?
Thank you. I'm very good, and I'm happy to be with you in this show.
Alright, sir. So let me move on to the questions. My first question to you would be, like GMOs are particularly GMO foods are causing a considerable alarm even in India these days. So could you explain GMO to our audience in a simple way, and is there any reason to worry about?
See, there are various reasons actually. So let me figure it out from three different angles. So one is definitely the health issues, which is the major concern. So let us also try to understand, first thing, that genetically modified organisms are not natural.
Okay.
So particularly when we are talking about food, otherwise genetic modification is a huge advancement in science.
Yes.
And it has very good effect in terms of medical science, in terms of other areas. But when it comes particularly to the food, there are certain concerns. So I'm not against the genetic modification as a science per se, but I'm kind of concerned about when we are trying to bring in GMO in food. Why is this? One very important thing is genetic modification in any crop is not natural. So, and the age of the earth is 450 million years, right? So, I mean, nature has huge time to, come to certain crops, come to certain. The way that we see nature now has a long history, and it has gone through various changes.
Yes.
And then it is becoming a part of our food chain.
Yes.
In genetically modified food, we are not getting that done. So, genetic modification in food is very recent. It's 1990.
Okay.
So it has hardly crossed 30 years. And in our country, the production of genetically modified crop is not allowed as of yet.
Okay.
But in other countries, there are food which is there in the food chain, like in America, that is there. But there are many other countries where genetically modified crop production is illegal. So they're not allowed. So as this is not natural, and what happened? Let us try to understand. And all natural body, they have gene, and gene has particular sequence of particular structure. So in genetic modification, we take a part of gene from one particular species and insert them into the other gene.
Yes.
The most popular genetic modification so far is, we call it, there is one bacteria called Bacillus thuringiensis, BT. So BT is used as a pest repellent. It has toxic nature. So what scientists have done, they have taken gene from BT, a part of gene from this BT bacteria, and inserted into cotton seeds.
Yes.
Inserted into soya seed. Also in BT brinjal seed. Brinjal.
Yes.
So the brinjal started producing toxicity.
Yes.
So the pest will not come. Pest will not eat that particular brinjal.
Yes.
So that is the technology. So if a crop is producing toxicity, you can easily guess that it might create a ill impact in our health as well.
Yes, definitely.
So and there are various changes happening inside when we forcefully insert a gene. So there might be various other things happening. We never know. So there is also a report of scientific papers on focusing on the male fertility, reduction of male fertility, reduction of there is a huge chance of allergy. So there are various health effects which have been.
Alright, so in that question related, like how is GMO different from other things such as crossbreeding or hybridization techniques that has been used for centuries?
Yeah. See, hybrid gene technology is also hybridization.
Oh, alright.
The gene mixing also happens naturally in the nature. So that's why you see that kind of diversity around us. But that is tested to few 100,000 years. And here we are doing it in laboratory. And we really do not know that what will be the impact of that. And in generally in hybridization, what happens, like a rice gene of one particular variety is inserted into another rice variety. So there is the same species are mixed together. Often in the genetic modification now in GMOs, one species is mixed with other species. Like brinjal is mixed with a bacteria. So that is risky. So that is not natural. So gene exchange is happening always in the nature.
So, like who benefits more from GMO crops? Like are these the seed companies or the government or the final consumers? Who do you think benefits the most?
I mean, this is a very simple answer. Of course, the companies. Because government is not a profit-making body. The government is basically has a role of welfare. So government is supposed to look at whether the citizens are getting the basic rights and all this. So government has nothing to do with this. But when the government is, basically prompted by the companies, prompted by the corporate and supported by the corporate, and they have a huge lobby. So government also are not, often they are helpless. So they are tired. So they don't do much without the corporate. So that is the problem, and this definitely is going to help the corporates only, because every year the farmers has to buy seeds. So we cannot keep GMC.
So I have heard that GMOs are totally unregulated. So is that true?
GMO is, in terms of production in India, genetically modified crop production is illegal as of yet. There is no law which can allow this. FSSAI, Food Safety and Security Authority of India, is trying to bring up a regulation regime. But in the name of regulation, it is actually going to open the market. So that is the risk, I think. So far, there was no strict law. The only thing was that genetically modified food is not allowed. So that was the law. But when you try to bring a law, so then people will also try to kind of figure out where is the gap in the law. Then always there is a chance of genetically modified food will flood the food market that way.
Alright, so my final question.
Mostly food which will be imported.
And my final question to you would be, since you're an expert in GMOs and food system, do you feel that GMOs are necessary for food sufficiency and security? And can the expanding human and livestock population exist without food augmentation via GMOs in the future?
Very important question. I think that should be the first question. That whether do we at all need GM crop? I can give you example of brinjal. So the government and corporates were trying to bring in brinjal. So we have around 4,000 varieties of brinjal. And in India there is no dearth of brinjal, no dearth of vegetable that way. So why do we need GM brinjal? So it is only because corporates are trying to make their market of seed product. So otherwise there is no need of bringing in genetically modified food, and we actually should focus more on whatever we have. So can we improve those varieties? So there's a lot more you can do in that. So we don't need actually GM crop.
Alright sir, that is all the questions I need to ask you. Thank you so much for taking out time from your busy schedule and joining us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good evening sir.
Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Mr. Greenmind and welcome back to Mr. Greenminds Workshop. Remember once I showed you all how to make a mobile projector? Yeah, this one, which help us to project our mobile phone in a larger dimension. And today I've got a similar gadget for you all, which is not only easy and fun to make, but also it's quite effective too. So without any further delay, today I'm going to show you how you can make a magnifying screen with a mobile stand for your mobile phones. In order to make one, you will be needing a cardboard box, magnifying sheet, hot glue, paper cutter and scissors. We will proceed by first making the frame for the magnifying screen. Second, we will focus on making a mobile stand. Third, we will make a slider. And lastly, attaching everything to the frame. So let's get started. First, according to the size of the magnifying sheet, make a strong frame using cardboard on both sides of the magnifying sheet. After completing the frame, now let's make an adjustable mobile stand which will later be attached to the frame. To make the mobile stand, cut two cardboard pieces of the size 1 inch into 3 inch and stick them together with some hot glue. That will make the base of the mobile frame. Similarly, cut two pieces of cardboard of the size 1 inch into 3 inch and stick them together, which will make the body of the mobile stand. After which, leaving half an inch from the base, stick the body onto the base at an inclined angle and then stick some cardboard pieces at the back of the body to the base for some support. Third, in order to make the slider, cut two pieces of cardboard of the size 1 inch into 5 inch for the base of the slider and stick them together. And for the sides, cut two pieces of cardboard of the size 4 mm into 130 mm and stick them on the sides of the base of the slider. Similarly, cut one piece of the size 1 inch into 3 inch and stick it on the slider frame, which will act as a limiter on how far can the mobile stand be adjusted. And now placing the mobile stand onto the slider and closing its ends. And now lastly attaching the slider to the magnifying screen. And there you have made yourself a magnifying mobile screen which is adjustable and effective too. And if you happen to follow our steps and make a mobile magnifying screen on your own, then do share with us via email, WhatsApp or Facebook. Until then, Greenmind is signing off.
Hello and good evening everyone. We are your hosts Nigel and Michael.
And we hope you all are doing great. And welcome to Earth Minute.
The Gangasagar Bokhali Development Authority, or the GBDA, which is a state government run body, it had developed volunteers at the entry to Gangasagar on the beach as well as on the Mela premises.
But what do the volunteers actually do?
Well Michael, about 50 tons of plastic waste had been recovered from the Gangasagar Mela area over the last few days by the teams that were deployed to recover, segregate and supply the plastic waste to different recycle and reused units.
Wow, that's a lot of waste, Nigel. But how will they reuse all these waste?
Well Michael, a good amount of recyclable plastic waste would be handed over to the local kavaliwala. The non-recyclable waste would be sent to the cement manufacturing plants.
Wow, that sounds like a good idea.
Yes Michael. The teams continued their work of segregating and dispatching the various kinds of plastic waste to various destinations till Republic Day.
And that is 1 minute folks. We will be back with more green news for you.
Until then, stay safe and love the planet you're on. And that is all for this edition of the Earth Updated Show. We will be back with more green news and much more. Until then, stay safe and take care.